What purpose does the gentleman from Texas rise?
I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 9, printed in Part A of House Report number 107-450, offered by Mr. Paul of Texas.
Pursuant to House Resolution 415, the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Paul, and a member opposed, each will control 10 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield myself such time as I may consume. First, I would like to thank the co-sponsors of this amendment, Mr. Barr of Georgia, Mr. Cannon, Mr. Duncan of Tennessee, Mr. Good of Virginia, Mr. Sessions of Texas, Mr. Wamp, and Mr. Weldon of Florida. And I appreciate their support on this amendment. This amendment is not complex at all. Matter of fact, it's a sense of Congress resolution that is put in the bill. And it says, it is the sense of Congress that none of the funds appropriated pursuant to authorizations or appropriations in this act should be used for any assistance to or to cooperate with or to provide any support for the International Criminal Court. It's to urge the President not to use any funds for the International Court. I'd like it to be a mandate. It isn't, but it's still very, very important, and I think this sends a message to our servicemen that they will never have to be taken into court against their will in the International Criminal Court. Now, on December 31st, right before the last day the treaty, the Rome Convention, could be signed, our President signed this convention. But it has never been ratified. It hasn't been brought to the Senate. He didn't intend it to. It was too late, and our President now does not have any intention. And you might say, well, why worry about it? But just recently, we all know that the President has essentially rescinded the signature on this treaty, and to make the point that we don't want our servicemen called in and tried in the International Criminal Court as war criminals. So it's a protection of the servicemen. But the interesting thing is that under this Rome Convention, the agreement is once 60 nations sign the treaty, it goes into effect. And even with what the President did by rescinding the signature and saying we don't want any part of it, we are still under international law under the understanding that our servicemen could be called into International Criminal Court. And we have to make this message very loud and clear. This is not overly strong, but I think we should make this message and say that none of these funds should be spent, but we still have to offer protection to our personnel that they never be called into this International Criminal Court. To me, it's an issue of national sovereignty. And it's an issue that's important to a lot of Americans. National sovereignty is an issue. That's what should be our job, is to protect our country. And for this reason, I think this is very important, and I hope I can get all of you to agree with this and pass this. And I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves the balance of his time.